What's up, guys? So the video you're about to watch is another one of those that I actually produced for the restaurant, but I figured I'd post on my personal YouTube channel as well in case any of you guys were interested. I actually spoke about some of the cocktails that I came up with for our bar and what the inspiration behind those were, where the ideas came from. Talked a little bit about the spirits that we carry, and I really try to showcase the cocktails that I came up with for our menu. So if that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned, keep it watched, make sure you hit that like button, make sure you're subscribed, and just let me know what you think. Like I said, these I'm basically repurposing content that I produce for the restaurant's Facebook and Instagram pages. But you guys let me know what you think of them here, and I might possibly actually start to talk a little bit more about my own cocktails later on. And I know this isn't the kind of content that you guys are used to, but that's why this isn't interrupting the regular upload flow. Every Wednesday you can still get a cocktail recipe or tutorial, as well as talking about some spirits. This is just some extra content I wanted to put out on the channel. Really hope that you guys would enjoy it. So you guys let me know what you think, and let me know if you really enjoy this kind of content, seeing if trying to figure out what works and what doesn't for you guys. So let me know. Hi there, my name is Louis Fernandez, and I am one of the owners and the head bartender here at La Breida's Brazilian Barbecue and Bar. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about our vision here with the bar, what we were trying to do with the cocktails, some of the inspiration behind some of the cocktails that we have, as well as some of the spirits that we carry and why we use them. When we first started talking about La Breida's and what we'd be doing with the restaurant, I knew that I really wanted to focus on South American spirits and South American inspired cocktails. There's an amazing cocktail culture happening across the country right now with so many fantastic bars, really bringing back classic cocktail techniques and recipes. And I think that that's fantastic and great. And I've gotten to work in places where I learned a lot about that. So for me, it was an idea of, well, what can I contribute to that conversation? What could we do that feels personal to us in a way that is creating something new and really showcasing cocktails that people may not even know about? We really wanted to put a focus on South American spirits and South American flavors in all of the different cocktails and spirits and wines and things that we bring into the restaurant. And so that's where a lot of the ideas came from. And so basically what I wanted to do was take the idea of South American spirits and flavors and combine them with classic cocktail techniques and try to come up with something new and unique. So to kind of start it off, one of the first things that I wanted to do was make sure that we brought in a whole bunch of cachaça. Currently we have a little bit over 20 different brands of cachaça, but there's over tens of thousands in Brazil. And even though the selection here in the States is somewhat limited, there's still some fantastic cachaças that we were able to bring in. And I'm actually hoping to bring our list up to about 30 to 40 different cachaças. I want to make sure that we can have all of the best kinds that we can here in the States. And cachaça finds its way into a lot of the different cocktails that we do here at La Breida's, especially the caipirinha, which is by far our most popular cocktail. It is a traditional Brazilian cocktail, the most famous export to ever come out of Brazil. It's been put on menus all across the world, and today is known as a classic cocktail. But we actually do so much more than just work with cachaça and caipirinhas, and I'm actually going to show you a couple cocktails right now that really showcase what I mean. And on top of the 20 plus different bottles of cachaça that we do have, I've brought in a lot of other different South American spirits. We have Argentinian gin, we have Peruvian pisco. I'm currently bringing in some Venezuelan and Colombian rums, and I'm always looking to bring in other South American and Latin American spirits. We also have a couple of different brands of mezcal, some tequila, and I really wanted to focus a lot on Central and South American spirits. Not that I dislike spirits from the rest of the world, I think they're amazing, but the fact is that there's not that many people focusing on this area of spirits and cocktails, and so I figured that's what we want to do. We want to highlight and showcase the best parts of South America and Central America and really put that on our menu. But all right, let's get into the cocktails. So the first cocktail I want to show you is the Marlboro Sour. This is a cocktail that I came up with. It actually started out as one of the first cocktails I came up with when we knew we were going to take over the restaurant. And originally started out as, I called it a passion fruit sour. The idea was to create a whiskey sour where instead of using solely lemon juice, which is the more traditional way to make a sour, I ended up using passion fruit juice, which I've always loved, and it has a really beautiful flavor to it. And then as things kind of went and evolved, I kept trying to tweak the recipe, kept tweaking the recipe, and I found that adding a little bit of cachaça with the bourbon and then using some passion fruit and lemon actually creates a really fantastic combination of flavors. The crispness from the cachaça helps accentuate the whiskey And then we ended up adding a Malbec float to the top because it adds a nice layer of bitterness to the cocktail. So when you drink it, you get some of that sweet, some of that almost sour, and then you get some of that bitterness from the Malbec. And then this was actually inspired by a cocktail known as the New York Sour, which you float red wine on top of a regular whiskey sour. And so instead of talking about New York, I wanted to honor the city of Marlborough where we are. And then that's where we got the name Marlborough Sour. This next cocktail I want to talk to you about is the Lost Planet. This is a cocktail that I came up with because I've always loved cashew juice. As a kid, I loved drinking cashew juice, and I actually used to mix it with my passion fruit juice. And so I wanted to create a cocktail that really incorporated cashew juice in it because it was something that I know a lot of folks around here had never tried or ever even heard of. A lot of people still don't know that the cashew the nut is attached to a fruit, and that fruit has a delicious, delicious juice that is really popular all across South America. And so what we did with this cocktail was I actually got some gin from Argentina. It's called Príncipe de los Apóstoles, and it's a gin that has pink grapefruit, juniper, coriander, mate leaves, peppermint, eucalyptus, and it's a fantastic and complex gin that I wanted to incorporate. And so there's a really awesome cocktail known as a Saturn. It's a classic tiki cocktail that I based this one off of, but I used the Apóstoles gin, and instead of using passion fruit, I used cashew. And it's one of my absolute favorite things I've ever come up with because it incorporates one of my favorite juices with a fantastic spirit, and it's really, really fun to drink. All right, and this next cocktail I want to show you is called the Chilcano. And you may not be able to see it, it may not look like much in the camera, but we like to call it essentially the Peruvian Moscow Mule. And the reason we call it that is that it uses pisco rather than vodka. And for those of you who don't know, pisco is a spirit made down in Chile and Peru, and it is a spirit that is distilled from grapes or grape juice. So it is essentially almost like a brandy, but it's unaged. You are not allowed to age at least Peruvian pisco. In Chile, they do age a couple, but in Peru, they're more purists. They don't really age their pisco. But when I found out that the Peruvians had been drinking pisco with ginger and lime for years and years and years before the Moscow Mule ever came about, I was like, no, we gotta put that on the menu. And it's a fantastic, almost like an entryway into pisco, which is an awesome, awesome spirit with its own unique flavor profile. And this cocktail, which is pisco, fresh lime juice, a little bit of ginger syrup, and ginger beer, it is a really, really nice, refreshing way to get into pisco, and it is a fantastic summer cocktail. And I can promise you this, if you like Moscow Mules, this cocktail right here is gonna knock your socks off. I'm a big fan of pisco. There's so much you can do with it, and I plan to explore that a lot more going forward. All right, you guys, so the next cocktail I wanna show you is what I call the Strawberry Daiquiri. It is a cocktail that I created that I wanted to really introduce folks to cachaça. So what I did was I ended up creating a house infusion of strawberry cachaça as a way to create a nice fruity entryway into one of my favorite cocktails, which is the daiquiri. And so I pair the strawberry cachaça with a little bit of aged rum, fresh squeezed lime juice, and a little bit of sugar, and it creates a fantastic, fantastic cocktail. The idea behind it was to create a tart and delicious daiquiri that honored both the Brazilian side with the cachaça with some of that amazing rum, which is so common in a daiquiri. And cachaça is rum's cousin. So for me, this cocktail really felt at home because it was like, well, let's pair these two almost family members of spirits together and create this amazing cocktail. And it's nice, it's fruity, it's tart. It has some of those elements from the aged rum, and it's a really easy sipping cocktail. And there you have it, guys. Hopefully this video showed you a little bit more about what our bar is about, what we're trying to do with our cocktails, kind of where we're trying to take it. At the end of the day, what we always wanted to do was to do something that was high quality, but felt very personal to us. And so I feel like we're on the right track with our cocktails, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of the insight that goes on to some of these decisions that we make.